Welcome back to ArrowVision Farm, guys. I thought I would do just a little garden walkthrough, not really like a whole farm tour. I just want to check out our gardens to see what they are looking like. These are the peach branches that we trimmed off of our trees. I've had them sitting here in water. Some of them still seem to be alive, but I don't see any rooting yet. So I'm just leaving them in there. As you can see, some have dried off, but there's still some live ones in there, surprisingly. I just don't see any roots quite yet. So I'm trying to wait and see if any of those root. I'm going to go ahead and plant them so we can plant some more peach trees around our property. Just wanted to walk around and check out all the gardens. I haven't actually been in the gardens for a while. We have some pineapple plants. Anytime you buy a store-bought pineapple, make sure you twist off the top part of it and plant it, because you'll get a whole pineapple plant. I have different ages here, and I just pop them right in the ground. You barely have to water them. They're very drought resistant, and sometimes they are pretty cold resistant too. If we have a heavy frost, sometimes they do freeze, but like the actual base near the root system is still alive, so they bounce right back. So we have pineapples all over the place. Anytime I buy a store-bought apple, I plant the tops, and within 2 years, about 2 years, we get a pineapple right off of our plant. Of course, not as big as a store-bought pineapple, but it's still a completely homegrown organic pineapple that you can enjoy, and it tastes just as good, if not even better, sweeter than the store-bought ones. Our rosemary here, I don't know what happened. We transplanted them and they seemed like they blew up. They were doing really good, and now all of a sudden I noticed this one has completely died. This one is on its way to being gone. It has a couple live sprigs in there, and this one, it's not looking too hot either. So not sure what happened. They didn't like being moved from the smaller pot, which is kind of weird because I thought it would be beneficial and they'd get really big. But they did grow since I planted them in there, but they just seem to have died off. So I don't know what happened. We have a papaya tree here and some papayas there. We planted like pumpkins and butternut squashes. Everything got eaten by the worms. We really haven't had much luck this year with any type of harvest. I don't think I've done any harvesting videos in quite a while. It feels like almost a year. But we do have some things growing that we do use, like our mint and our herbs, oregano. This is the artichoke or sunchoke. We have a turmeric plant here, some more pineapples. None of our little pumpkins and stuff that we planted here did really good. Here's an example of this plant that has kind of died off and has a itty bitty undergrown acorn squash. And that's pretty much it for this garden. Not too much going on. But I also have not really been in the garden much and putting in actual work and effort. So to have anything alive is pretty good at this point. We have been working on planting things here and there. We bought some starters and they're getting watered right now. We'll check out that garden after. And those have been doing good. Gave us the little jump start that we needed, because the last few times we planted seeds in that garden, nothing has resulted from it at all. Not sure if it's just a weird year, but I do see other gardeners and homesteaders and farms here in Florida that are harvesting just as usual. So maybe we're just not putting all the work that we need to be putting in. But we're still trying to do our best to upkeep our property, keep our fruit trees alive, keep everything fertilized, and just not letting our gardens get way too overgrown as well. We are in the process, as you know, of trying to figure out where we want to live in the near future. We want to move out of Florida, but that doesn't mean we're going to abandon our property as is now because we know that we're going to move. We're still stewards of the land. God has called us to take care of our property, take care of our home and our animals, our gardens, and we still, even though we want to move, we're still going to continue homesteading and farming here. We still have a business and a farm business, and still want to provide food for our family as well while we're here in Florida. So we can't just like drop everything and get too distracted. Still trying to keep everything tidy and in control, especially for when it comes time to actually sell this house and start marketing it. We want everything to look nice, and we want people to see the potential of this property because we've done so much work here. Definitely don't want it to go to waste. In these garden boxes, we have arugula. So that right there is arugula. These are just overgrown radishes and turnips. I think some of these might still be edible. I should probably harvest them and try to do something with. These are just overgrown radishes. I know we can't do nothing with that, but the turnips and things like that do have a way longer shelf life. And you can see how big this one has gotten over here. We have some flowers for the butterflies, and then we did recently plant the seed packets in here, so you can see some beets starting to pop up. I've been doing my best to try to plant something in these boxes because it's really just a wasted space if they're not growing anything, especially in the time it takes for flowers to grow. That's why I like to plant vegetable seeds to see if we can get anything to grow in the meantime. Lots of papayas this year. Hopefully we don't get any cold fronts anytime soon because our papayas are bouncing up, flowering, and then we do have papayas, bigger papayas on that tree over there. So as long as we don't get any type of frost anytime soon, we should be good and hopefully get papaya this year. Blueberry bushes, doing good. I don't remember which one it was, but one of these was flowering. Oddly enough, I think it's confused with the weather. After the hurricane that we had, it cooled down a lot, and then all of a sudden it got hot all over again, close to the 90s. Then this, by the middle of this week, it's supposed to get cold again, down to the 50s at nighttime. So the plants are a bit confused. Here's the one that was flowering. Not the right time for that right now, but we'll see what happens. These trees just have a mind of their own. So yeah, as I was saying about being stewards of the land, we're still trying to continue keeping up with this property and growing things, especially now that the weather is pretty mild. It's not too hot. We're trying to grow things and just keep everything in check. We're slowly trying to make moves and changes. Not too much right now because my husband is starting a brand new job this week, and we were doing the self-employment thing, but we have come to realization that right now, since we have goals and we want to make some moves, right now the main priority is getting this property in tip-top shape and saving up as much as we can. We need to keep up with our bills and improve our credit scores and be able to save money for when we do find our future property as well. So he found a job in something that he really is interested in doing. It's a medical marijuana grow house, I would call it. It's not really an outdoor farm, but it's like a greenhouse type of thing, a 5-acre of just greenhouses for medical marijuana. So he's working there. He's very interested in that. He's done tons of research and studies on growing hemp, and we did get our hemp growers license here, but as you guys know, that didn't really work out. We just decided it was going to be too much of an investment right now, and we don't really have like a customer base for the hemp that we would have grown, so we just decided to put that to the side. We will revisit that later on, but he gets to still practice growing it in his new job, and he can take those skills wherever we do move and continue to work in that career if that's something that he wants to continue doing, aside from our farming and everything that we do with our small business. So he's going to be starting that soon, so we should be able to make all the home improvements that we need to do here to get this house in order. And at the same time, we are searching and comparing and looking at the states that we are interested in living in and comparing the prices for land, seeing what is available and how much it costs, because we'd have to figure out how much we need to market our property for in order to purchase our next property. Let me actually turn off the sprinkler so I can show you guys what's growing back there. So we have lots of things to keep us busy, from just maintaining, just simple maintenance of our farm now, to improving our house and fixing some things that have broken over the years that we never got around to, growing our own food, continuing our business here in Florida while we remain here, and also keeping in mind our big move that is coming in the future. So I have started, besides starting a mental list of everything that we have to fix here, I have also started a little bit of downsizing. Not with the animals quite yet, but we're trying to think ahead for when we want to move. We don't want to have too much cleanup and too much things to do. So I'm starting to slowly think about the things that we can let go of now, like our porta potty here. We got this porta potty when we were doing the open farm days on our property. We decided to stop doing those a while ago. And also the hurricane blew off the door of it, and I really didn't feel like bothering and fixing it since I'm not going to be using it anymore. So I posted this on our Facebook page, and somebody is coming to grab it later today. So we're gonna try to figure out how to get that onto somebody's truck or trailer. And so that is going to be gone, and that won't be here as an eyesore for whoever's buying our property in the future. We were able to sell Mariah's last silkies that she hatched. It took us a while to sell it, but we got rid of those, and I'm not sure if she's going to want to take her silkies to our next property. I know we're not taking the parakeets, so all the parakeets in the aviary, we're going to be at some point finding them another aviary to live in. I definitely want to find them like another farm, or maybe like a zoo or some other place that has a very large outdoor bird aviary here in Florida, because a lot of people gave us these birds so that they could be free and flying freely in a large aviary, colony style parakeet aviary. So we want to continue that for the birds. We don't want to give them to homes that's going to keep them in a small cage and they'll never get to fly. So we just figured parakeets is probably not going to survive well in a state that we want to live in, which will for sure have winter and snow. This is Boba. She is getting so fat and chunky. So we will be getting rid of the parakeets. Let me try to get away from the pig. And then I'm not sure if she's taking her silkies, but at least we got rid of the younger silkies for now, so we just have the adult ones to care for. I posted a couple other junk items that we have laying around on the side of our house, like an old tiller that does not work and it's been sitting out for years in the elements. We never got it fixed. And a couple other like high bulky items. Anything that is burnable, we've been putting it in the burn pile and just getting rid of it that way. And we're probably gonna have to make a lot of trips to the dump to get rid of other things, like some old vacuums. We just have, you know, over the years stuff just starts piling up and junk, and I've always been one to not like that. I'm more of a minimalist and I don't like seeing a bunch of junk piling up. So even though we're not moving anytime soon, I'm already starting kind of with the spring cleaning process of trying to get rid of everything that we do not need and downsizing. So we have some tomatoes. They're doing really good. There's 2-3 plants. And we also had pepper plants. Something did chomp off the top of these. That is a recurring problem for here in this garden. I think it's a deer that gets in here. But peppers are pretty resilient and they tend to bounce back, so hopefully these do. Then we had eggplants planted in here. Those are also doing good. We got a whole row of them that way. Hopefully you can see it good. Our curly kale. We have a couple plants running down the line. Then we have, I think it's zucchini. Some type of summer squash. So a row of that. These were Napa cabbages. Look like they're getting chomped off by something. This one here in the sunlight is really enjoying it. It's growing really big since we last planted it. Another summer squash plant. We planted some collards back here more towards the shaded area. So those are supposed to be collard greens. And another curly kale. Then over here we did several rows of carrots. So I'm going to walk through. I don't see any sprouting quite yet, just at first glance. But this is what we use this space for, growing carrots. Yeah, I don't see any yet. So at least we got a little something in this garden. Better than nothing. When we planted the green beans, that was a fail. Then we tried pumpkins, that was a fail. So it's nice to come back here and see something growing. So as I was saying, we're slowly starting to downsize. Figuring out what animals are going to come with us. Where we are planning on moving, regardless of what state it is, we kind of have an idea of what state we want to live in. We found one that we really like it has a lot of pros and only a couple cons compared to some of the other states that have more cons than pros. But the state that we want to move to is going to have definitely winters, lots of snow, lots of cold weather. So we have to think about what animals, not only are animals hard to transport super far away to a different state, but what of our animals are not going to do good in cold weather because they are acclimated to here in Florida. The state that we see ourselves living does raise cows and sheep and goats and all sorts of things, but I'm wondering if our sheep would have a hard time just getting used to it since they've been born and raised here in Florida. They might get used to it. I'm not really sure. So not sure if we should just start fresh and start brand new over there and start our herd over again. Our herd here is not that big, so it's not like I have to sell 100 sheep or anything. It's only a little handful, and I'm sure somebody will be happy to take them off our hands when that time comes. But I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of difficult trying to figure out how to take them with us. We know for sure that Peanut the pig has to come with us. He is our pet pig. He's the black one. Have no idea how we're going to get him out of state, but he's supposed to be coming with us unless we were to find a perfect home for him. But everybody here in Florida is trying to rehome their pigs, so that's going to be pretty tough to find someone that would take him, like a sanctuary or something, because he's a super friendly pig. He was raised as a baby, as you guys know, and when he got injured when he was a baby, so he's super friendly and trained. He knows his name. Now Bubba and Boba, those are going to be more of an easier decision to make because those were going to be our breeder pigs, and 9 times out of 10 we won't have any type of problem selling them, whether it's for me or somebody who wants to try their hand at breeding them. I don't see us being here in Florida for too much longer, so I'm not sure if we're even going to get to see Boba have her first litter of pigs, because she's still young and she's supposed to be at least a year to a year and a half before breeding for the first time. And once these pigs are big, like these pigs are supposed to get over 400-500 pounds, I highly doubt we're going to be trying to move them to a different state, especially with pigs being so easy to find anywhere you go. I'm sure we'll find another farm that we can start over with and buy some piglets from. So that is kind of like the thought process that we're starting to have now. What are we doing with the sheep? Are we really going to be paying to transport all these animals to a different farm, or if it's better and in the best interest of the animals to just restart and start with animals that are already acclimated to that environment and to the cold weather. So that's more of what I'm leaning towards. We're probably going to have to start completely over. We'll see if we can bring, I mean, we're bringing our dogs and stuff with us. The pig might be a little bit harder to transport, but I know if we wanted to transport our sheep, all our pigs, all our chickens and everything, that's going to be almost near impossible, because we'd have to find an animal, somebody who does transporting that is willing to drive that far. And plus, when we get to our new place, we have no idea where we're putting these animals. We're going to need lots of time to figure out where the animal pens are going and all of that. The last thing we want to do is arrive to the new state with all these animals and have no set place for them. So we'll have to figure it out. And I know we still want to raise the same type of animals wherever we end up. We still want to do the chickens, the poultry. We still like to do the pigs, especially because pigs are very useful in clearing out like the land that you want to plant in. So we definitely want to utilize them for that. We want to do the sheep, and they, as you know, they are good for clearing land as well. We still want to do cows on a very small scale, kind of like we're doing here, where we only do most of 2 cows at a time. Unless we end up getting a property with lots of space, but I am not sure about that. So I don't think I could handle more than just a couple cows at a time, or like 1 or 2 cows every other year or something like that. So pigs, sheep, cows, and chickens is always going to be on our farm no matter what. We just might have to start over slowly and work our way back up to it. Still want to do the gardening, definitely market gardening, because I still want to do markets and be able to market our produce and vegetables and herbs, maybe fruits, to customers wherever we end up moving to. And I'd really like to do what we set out to do here when we first moved here. The whole purpose of buying this property was so that we can grow our own food for our family, but not only just our family, to be able to can and do our preserves with our own things. Like, I really want to challenge myself, so when we move to the different state, especially because we'd have more opportunities to grow different things that don't grow here in Florida, I'd like to just do my canning with strictly only like homegrown things on our property, on our farm, or at the very least locally sourced items. Nothing from the store. I don't really know how, like, that was the goal in the first place here with this property, but now, fast forward to now, I'm having to buy frozen fruits and just fruits and from the store, or from like bulk stores, or like co-ops and stuff like that. And that wasn't the purpose of my business and my canning. I really wanted to do everything with our own, because that's the whole point of preserving. You're preserving your harvest so that you can have it during the winter. That is why preserving exists in the first place. So I don't know where we went wrong, where we strayed away, to the point where I'm having to buy basically frozen fruits or fresh fruits from the store, from bulk stores, in bulk, to be able to can to meet the request of our customers. So I'd like to go back to that and just not sell anything that we are not producing ourselves, that we're not growing ourselves. And I think at the end of the day, that will mean more to my customers. That would mean more to me, because I feel like, let's say they buy a jar of apple butter. If that apple butter was made with our own homegrown apples, that would mean a lot to me if somebody's purchasing that jar of apples. And that would mean a lot to them too, because people are really interested in locally produced items. So instead of me buying apples from Walmart to make the apple butter, just imagine being able to pick the apples from your own tree and preserving those apples in that way. Like, that is my dream come true, and that is really what we wanted to do here. But Florida has lots of challenges with growing things, and certain things just simply do not grow here. And like, for example, here in Florida, people like their apple butter, people like let's say like raspberry jam and stuff like that, and some stuff just does not grow here, or it has a very short season when it is growing here. Like strawberries, for example, we have like maybe 2 very short seasons for strawberries here. February is one of them, and I don't remember the other one, but it'll be very hard to provide people with strawberry jam with just the strawberries picked here in Florida because the season is just so short. They're also super expensive doing it that way. So I end up making strawberry jam from frozen strawberries I buy at the store. But that's just not what I want my business to be about. We're definitely going to be going through a whole type of brand change. We went through a brand, I don't know if that's what it's called, the brand change, but we went through that a while ago when we introduced Our Vision Farm, because it used to be just Beet Sweets, and then I'd call our homestead Beet Sweets Farm, but that didn't feel right either. So we changed it to Our Vision Farm. So what I see for the future for us, we're still going to be Our Vision Farm, whatever state we end up in, but I think that's the brand that I'm solely going to focus on, just Our Vision Farm. So our jams will be Our Vision Farm brand instead of Beet Sweets, and the jams will be made with fruits produced right on our property, or at the very least fruits that are picked from local items or local fruits from other local farmers, and just not like the mass produced ones, nothing that comes from other countries and that are shipped in. Just truly going back to the roots and the basics of preserving and being able to produce and truly live off the land. Because if I'm making jams or other products from store-bought things, it's not really, it's still living off of my business, but it's not living off the land. I really want to focus on living off our land, and that means making as much income and products I can from our land. That to me would be the most fulfilling thing that I can do with our piece of property that God decides to bless us with. And I hate to let this one go. I really wish I could like win the lottery or something and be able to keep this Florida farm and be able to move somewhere else, but that's just not in the possible right now. It's not in the works right now. Never know what might happen, but I feel like this property is going to be a huge blessing to somebody who has the same dreams and the same motivations as us, because half of the things are already done and complete. We've cut all this out of a clean slate that we were given. So I feel like it'll be a jump start for another couple that dreams of homesteading and farming. The gardens are already there. The animal sections are already there if they decide to keep them where they're at now. The property, the fencing, everything is here. We redid the whole fencing in our whole backyard. So right now it doesn't look like much, but when the grass grows back in, it's a big pasture for somebody who wants animals. And we've raised cows back here. We've raised sheep. People could put goats on this property. Whatever their little hearts can imagine. They can just use it for vegetable production. That's one thing we weren't really able to expand too much on, is producing food and planting fruit trees, because our animals kind of always made a problem with that. They would, like, you just can't, you have to keep your animals away from everything. So our gardens have pretty much had to stay pretty small in order to give the most space and the most pasture for our animals. So depending what the person in the future wants to do with this property, they can make it all into just food production, because this is agriculturally zoned land, or they can just cohabitate like we do with the animals and the gardens. Or they could just have animals. You never know. Whoever moves here might be an animal lover, might make it into a sanctuary, or just provide and raise meat animals, kind of like we do. There's just so many options, and just like I've molded this place into a place that we love and it really hurts to let go of, I hope that somebody out there is doing the same with our future property. We won't mind just starting from a clean slate and starting from scratch, but of course that's going to cost more money, so it might just take longer to do. But that is everything running through our heads right now. My husband is starting this new job, which is a huge blessing because it puts the pressure off of me a little bit. Our business hasn't been doing that great lately through this whole hot and long summer. Everything's gonna pick up right now in the fall and winter time. Christmas is our busiest season for our business, but we've had a very tough summer, so him having this job at least is going to help us get things moving with being able to save money and catch up on bills. And then everything else that I make could be extra savings as well, and not have to rely so much on paying the bills with that money. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing our little gardens. Not too much going on, but we're working on it. We're trying not to let everything get overgrown. We've kept this pretty cleaned out for a good while, but it takes at least once a month we have to come and just pick weeds for like hours between all of us so we can get it back cleaned down. Our fruit trees in the front are doing really good, and not much going on in the potted garden. Everything has pretty much died there. Back here was our original little fruit forest area. We still have citrus trees alive back there and some banana trees, but those seem to be stunted because they don't like not having all the sunlight. So, but the citrus trees that we do have are doing good there. And then we did visit, my husband went all the way to the back sometime after the hurricane. We still have sugar cane growing back there, and the edible elephant ears, the malanga, we still have those alive back there, but nothing else to see, so I haven't really done a video on that. It's a lot of water, especially after the hurricane. It's even more wet and muddy, but like not too bad. It's not all flooded out like other areas of Florida. It's just where the water was already sitting, it's a little bit closer to us, but there's still plenty of space if we wanted to continue planting, which I don't think we really will, but maybe some seeds or stuff. I wouldn't spend too much more money on actual fruit trees or more expensive plants. So that is my video for right now, just doing a update on the gardens and what our plans are moving forward for the future. Definitely going to be seeing some brand changing and just focusing more on Our Vision Farm being our family's brand. And it just makes more sense. Everything ties into just the homesteading vibes and the farming. Like I make my soaps, candles, I make the preserves and the baked goods. All of that fits into the farm and owning a farm, because we use our own eggs for our baked goods. We can incorporate more of our herbs and into our recipes and into our soap making and just things like that, expanding on all the possibilities that you can do with a property, and no matter what state you live in. So that is our goals. We will probably down the line be saying goodbye to the beet sweets, which I've had for quite a bit now. We started beet sweets, I would say 2014. That's when I really started doing my baked goods and things like that. And then when we started homesteading, that's when, a few years into homesteading, we changed it to Our Vision Farm. But we think as a whole, Our Vision Farm is what we really want to focus on, and making our brand and growing our brand using that name. So it's not so complicated either with the whole beet sweets and Our Vision Farm. I like everything to just be one, so that it's easier for people to remember, especially as we start fresh new in a brand new state. It's going to be better for us and better for our marketing if we're just one flat name instead of having two. But I hope you guys enjoyed a little sneak peek of everything that's going on in our minds behind the scenes. We will continue to take you along this whole big journey and motivating you guys to do the same, to reach for the stars, reach for your dreams. You're never too old and you're never too young to accomplish your dreams. We started when we were pretty young, and now that we're in our 30s, it just feels like there's no better time to just continue reaching for those dreams, because time is too short to just not be doing something that you love doing. So every year that goes by and you're not trying to reach for those goals is just another year that's pretty much wasted working for somebody else or whatever it may be, whatever your goals are. So that is the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed and stick along for our journey. Stay tuned for our next video. We will definitely see you soon.